spot.
Okay.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nicer than our gym too.
At 5:30, let's call the meeting to order and start with Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'll let you do roll call.
Steve Darren. Here. Jay Jones. Here. Gene Onrod.
Here.
And Carol is absent, and Lexi is absent.
Okay, so just makes us have a quorum of 3. Thank you for that. Attendance of guests. We can have everyone go through and introduce themselves as you go through, if you would.
I'm Matt Zangler, Library Director.
Here.
John Eden. Road Writer.
Linda Matthews, Shalene Yagi.
Mary Radke.
Darren Bumgarner.
Ryan Harper, Fire Chief.
Lori Struve, Ambulance Service Director. Sherry Rock, Clean Ambulance.
Thank you to all. Okay, we'll approve the agenda and then we'll give some of you an opportunity to speak. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda, or do we have any additions or corrections to it for this evening?
Anybody see anything? I didn't see anything. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for February 20th, 2023.
Got it. Thank you. I have a motion by Jean and a second by Jay to approve the agenda for this evening's regular meeting, February 21, 2023. Do we have any other discussion regarding amendments needed? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving the agenda for this evening, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, say nay. All ayes, motion carries. Open opportunity to address the council, a max of 5 minutes per item. Is anyone, I know some of you are here for your budget items, but if any of the other ones are here to address anything, now is your time. For your budget, we have you later. Hold that, unless you have something else.
Oh, I'll wait.
Just a minute. Anyone else for that? You're on budget? Okay. Okay, now we're letting Darren speak. Darren, introduce yourself. Darren Bumgarner of Northwest Iowa Planning and Development.
Yep, Planning Development Commission.
And
Correct.
Commission, yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
so, an opportunity to have you come and speak, so, So I'm Darren Bumgarner, Northwest Iowa Planning and Development Commission, planning director there. I guess Brenda asked me to come over and speak, provide information as to who we are and what services we provide. So real quick, we're set up by state of Iowa as a planning district. A 9-county area that's comprised of all the way from Lyon County over to Emmett County, down to Palo Alto, and all the way back over to Sioux County. Then we drop down and pick up UMBC County. So 9-county area. I think there's roughly about 72 cities that are active members of our organization in that 9-county area. So sometime if you're bored or whatever, you can read through here. Just kind of highlights some of the services we do provide. The things we've done for Paullina in the past, probably that's kind of an area, but I was just looking back, but I see the zoning ordinance, the city first adopted in 2018. We helped the city draft that ordinance, get it approved. Last time the city code was updated was in 2016. Again, that's something we've, I think since at least 1899, so I've been with Northwest Iowa Planning since 1999. And probably the early 2000s when I first worked with the city, so it's been well over 20 years. We've helped with the codification process. Employee handbook, I see was last updated in 2014. That's something we've helped with. And then the most recent version I could find, that I'm aware of anyway, for the land use plan was 2006. And the land use plan is something that's important, provides support for your zoning document, for land use decision making. It's like the foundation. It's Code of Iowa says you need to have a land use plan. You do have one, but the question would be, that you would have to ask, is it something that's current or reflects your community and shows what the goals and objectives for the community would be and the land use decision making into the future. So, and I also look back and I see in 2010 we worked on a CDBG application for new force main, and then in 2007 for collection system improvements for like I&I. So, yeah, so that's some of the things. I guess we do provide grant writing services. We work with some cities out there for nuisance abatement services, zoning administration services. So we're we provide a lot of different services. Not every community, a lot of communities use our services, but not, for everything. So it's kind of, we sometimes fill in the gap for areas, for a community, for example, that maybe they don't have the expertise or they don't have the time or the skill sets or whatever in a particular area. That's where we fill in. So, yeah, so I'm kind of going over kind of quick. Has anybody got any questions, maybe about who we are, Northwest Iowa Planning, or services that we provide, or I guess I'll just kind of throw it out there. So.
Down a couple council members, so
Sure.
we'll give them an opportunity to look at this too, and if they may have questions, we'll send them your way. But I know we just wanted to touch base. You have done work in the past, and I know we're in commitment with you to do the codification this year, so we've got that going soon, and the rest is possible.
Yeah, I think on that, you just need to pass that agreement or whatever when that time comes. I can send over a new one because I can set 2022 because I said November last year, or you can just cross out the 2s, make 3s, whatever. Whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. So anything else? I mean, like, I'm just looking, looking down through your zoning ordinance. I mean, obviously, there could be times when you need to make amendments or things, but is it working all right for your zoning ordinance, or?
Any inputs
For the
on
most
how
part,
our
When did we last do that?
2018?
Oh, I think, yeah. For the most
I mean,
part.
but it's working all right.
For the most part, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to have a zoning ordinance that fits like every situation out there. I mean, even the bigger cities out there, whether it was a Spencer, I'm talking in our area, Spencer, Storm Lake, or you can go to big cities like Sioux City. I mean, they're constantly always amending because things change, and that. And you think you got a really good ordinance, and all of a sudden someone finds a way to get around something. You're like, well, that's kind of not really what the intent and spirit was, but they figured out a way. We need to kind of button it up. So, yeah, it should be good. And the code, that's just something that once every 5 years, the city needs to update the code. And employee handbook, looking, again, that's something you have. That's going to be, is it working for you? Sometimes, management over time, be the council, mayor, so forth, things change, sometimes laws change, and things, so sometimes that needs to be updated, but, maybe you're not at that point. And then land use plan, speaking with Brenda earlier today in regards to that, she asked a really good question, and I kind of like danced around. I'm like, well, usually when someone says that's a good question, it means they don't know how to answer it. And so, there's really no law that says, hey, you got to update at this point in time. What the law does say is if you have a zoning ordinance, you need to have a land use plan. So in theory, you should have one that's somewhat up to date. So if you're a larger community with a lot of growth, whether it's population, economics, things like that, you're going to annex a lot of land in, then you're probably going to look at maybe updating, possibly every 5 to 7 years. Some of those larger communities, they're updating like amendments like every year, right? Because things happen so quick, so fast. If you're somewhat of a smaller community, you're probably going to be good for 10 or 15 years. Once you get that 15 or 20 years, probably regardless of the size of the community, you probably should start thinking about updating. That's when you start getting to 20 years or 2 decades, things have changed. You probably have new council, new mayor for the most part, what do you want to look at for goals, objectives in your land use decision, making? So, it's kind of, yeah, so. I do look forward to working at some point in time, for the city and the updates.
Okay.
Anything in particular for our council members? We're always wanting to ask. I'm sure we'll send you an email, give you a call if we
Right.
do something,
Yep,
or
we will do
if
that.
there's come up with anything, but
Okay.
Okay.
start the process.
Thank you, Darren.
Thank you for your
Nice to
time.
meet you.
Yeah, you
Drive
bet.
down, safe travels back up.
Yeah, it's not selling out, so
Good.
it's good, right? So-
Yeah, so far so good.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll all miss it.
yeah. We'll see, right?
All right, thanks again,
Yeah, I
Darren.
appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
All right, our next agenda item is to approve the minutes from our 2/6 council meeting, which were in your packet. Any corrections needed on that? Did you see that?
I just had one that I wanted, it's maybe more clarification than anything. If you look about halfway down the page, motion by Unruh, seconded by Murphy to approve minutes from 1/3 and 1/16 with minor adjustments to attendance list of regular meetings. That probably should be more detailed than just with minor adjustments to it. I think in those minutes I think we added Tisha. So anyway, I guess what I'm saying is something like that probably should have a little more detail to it. So if there's any question about what happened, a year or two or even 5 years from now, then we can go back to the minutes and see in detail what happened at that point. So, not really anything to do with it now, but just wanted to point that out. Otherwise, I don't see anything. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Steve and a second by Jean to approve the minutes as reported from the 2/6/23 regular council meeting. Any other comments or questions? Did we spell everyone's names correctly? Who were listed? Hopefully. Okay. Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes from the 2/6/23 council meeting, say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All ayes, 2 absent, motion carries, minutes approved. And payment of claims is the next item on the agenda. We should have claims in front of you. We had no additionals today, tonight, right?
Nope.
The school gets from Missouri River Energy Services, those are just like little booklets we pass out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not what we approved.
I kinda thought so.
Yeah, it was a couple of meetings ago.
Okay.
That we finally billed. It wasn't the books, but it was the little kit that went to the, I forget what grade.
Yeah, I remember that, but I don't forget what grade it was going to.
Back to the here for anything?
Except the payments and claims.
Okay, has made the motion to approve payment of claims.
I'll second.
Jean is seconded. Do you have any other questions? We asked Steve, that leaves you to the only one left.
No.
No?
No
Okay.
questions.
All right, hearing none, we'll call for a vote for approving the payment of claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, say nay. 3 ayes, no nays, 2 absent. Motion carries. And our item number 10 is to approve the adoption of the revised public records request policy, which, as you know, we just last time added in the comments to further specify the ambulance. That's the only change that was in, down at the bottom there, and there we go. There's the ambulance one.
Like what type of records?
It was just to say that you
Ambulance?
were handling them, just like it says, fire chief,
Oh,
police
okay,
chief have their own
okay,
separate rules to follow, so. I don't even see this one. Oh, except fire, yeah, I don't think you copied it right.
Okay, so it is, so this is not the revised
Well, it
copy.
doesn't look like it. I just
It must
see
not
that.
be. Yeah.
It didn't get revised.
Put the wrong copy. But it says in ambulance.
It didn't have the date last revised or the other reviewed update.
No, it doesn't have it, because that's what we called out right there, and that
Well,
is,
that's it.
Third page.
yeah, can you open those
Well,
out?
it's on the second
No.
page.
Well, if you look at the
Just print
first,
the new one out of this.
if you look at the first page,
No, this is ambulance here, and
the second sentence down,
you'll find that one on there and print it out.
Yeah, that's what I think.
We'll get that printed out and bring that back up tonight if we... Oh,
Well, yeah, did we talk about that in the second paragraph there?
yeah,
I can't pronounce that word, applicability.
Applicability?
disability,
Okay,
Is that what it is?
the ambulance should be on that.
except, right, yeah, I think it was in like 3 spots.
And then there's 3 spots, wasn't there?
yeah, and
And down
then
to number 1,
on the public records at the bottom, yep.
and then, is there one in the back too?
Yeah, police, fire.
I know we had them because we sent it to Tisha, so she had already sent them on, but we must have just printed the wrong version.
Or did she just looked at the right one for it?
Yeah, that's right, because it's already
I was
kept
gonna
on.
say, she would have revised it.
No, it was through her. So, okay, well, let's hold on that thought, and we will bring that back up to our attention. Someone can we can revisit that agenda item yet tonight. So moving on to our budget presentations while we wait to get that printed. We have Shailene Bambi first, who is here this time for youth softball. Last time we had her here for the school board, school bond.
Yep, so I'm here on behalf of the Boys and Girls Softball Association. I sent in my report and was asked to come in because I requested $3,500 this year for the coaches, $3,500 for the girls coach and $3,500 for the boys coach, rather than $3,000. The reason for that is it's getting harder and harder to find coaches to coach these little ones. So I thought just an extra $500. We've been at $3,000 for I don't even know how many years. I've been on it since Alyssa was in kindergarten, so she's 18 now. So a long time. So, yeah, any questions? In my report, the association I feel is a very worthwhile program. Last year we junior high stole my 6th graders, so there were some adjustments in the age group. So TK through 1st grade probably had 12 little girls in it. 2nd through 3rd and 4th through 5th each had probably right around 11 girls. So that were in the program. The Girls Little League does do a fundraiser every year, and that's just to build up our funds so that we can make modifications to the field, improvements. 2 years ago, we put up the canopy, or whatever you want to shade, over the stands, over a portion of the stands. This last summer, The Boys Little League wanted to do a batting cage. The Girls Little League actually pitched in half of that cost as well this last summer. So those are just some of the modifications that we've made in the past couple of years. But
Does anyone have any specific questions for her, or and you're speaking on behalf of Heath as well, who be here tonight, but anybody have anything specific? She had a report in the last one, I don't have it copied yet,
okay.
sorry, that's why I don't have it
Have you
again.
gotten any inquiries for the Heath's job or not?
She doesn't know that part,
Okay.
that's not
for
her,
what?
for
Okay.
the Swanson, it's
Swanson,
different.
okay.
Yeah, that's not her stuff.
Do we do that or does the school take care
We're
of
doing that.
How about the little boys? Did you find a coach for them yet, or?
I believe he was gonna ask Reed Nelson again. I've reached out to both the girls' coaches from last year, and neither one of them are sure they're gonna be around this summer, so still looking for a girls' coach.
Okay.
Everybody's raising their hands for that job?
Yeah.
All right, well, if there are no other questions, you have that, we'll probably put the approval of that on the March 6th agenda for you, but that's okay?
Yep.
That sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
for coming
Shalene.
in.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, what's up, ambulance, we still have Sherry too? Okay.
So council members, you should have a new printout that's landscape, so you can see all of the columns on the same page, which is very helpful. And I also gave you a printout of our calls by year for the last 6 years. You can see we are up significantly last year and this year, or the last 2 years, 21 and 22.
Part of that's gonna be because we're taking our day calls.
No, not
Probably
really,
not.
because 2017 we had day calls.
Yeah.
So, we're just getting busier. And on the other side, you can see which day of the week has the most calls in the top graph. Thursday is our busiest day of the week. And the 1 o'clock hour is our busiest hour. PM, 1 in the afternoon. So you can see that our daytime calls are a significant amount of our calls, which we were struggling with for quite a while until we got the crew that we have now. Which leads me to how I've got our budget broken down. Our salaries and wages, I realized, well, I've never updated it. I've always just left it whatever it was because I really didn't know what I was doing. So I have that broken down. It's just the pay, our salary for when we are on calls. And I based that on average 3 hours a call and 3 team members and $14 an hour, which would be a raise for some,
This is the right, that's the one I had.
and 108 calls, which is what we had last in calendar year 2022. So that would be 13,608. And Jared recommended we just round that up to $15 a call per hour, $50 an hour per call, and $15,000. So it's a round number, and we've got a little more wiggle room if we have more calls than anticipated. And then the county would like the city to match the $20,000 grant that they give each our ambulance service. So that is on the yellow line. And that's for the weekend call pay that you guys agreed to pay for this budget year as well. And then the $20,000 grant from the county, which would be for the weekdays and weeknights. And I don't know if you have any other questions on any of the other lines, but those are kind of the biggies. Couple new lines, or just a different line, is the tablet that's currently, but we're disconnecting the phone line that we pay for at the fire station. So that will be off. I think Michelle is gonna already have that disconnected. And then the very last line is a new line. That's for the No. 2 service that I talked about the last time I was here. And so that'll be $960 a year, and we'll pay we'll pay out of our fundraised funds the startup costs for the initial subscription, and then the remainder of the current budget year, which would be about $480. And then you guys pick it up with the new budget year.
You will not continue to pay for half of it for the year?
This is something, we'll pay the first we'll pay to the new budget year. We'll finish out this budget year from our funds.
Okay, but you will not pay forward from then on?
No, that'll be on you guys.
Have we discussed that?
Extensively.
Okay.
That needs to, because that's something that the city office previously did. So I guess we think that the city should pick up the cost
Well,
of
the
it.
city office doesn't have time to do it anymore.
So,
Well, we're devoting a lot of our time.
Yeah.
Already, so picking that up and doing that is a lot to ask too.
so,
Okay, how about for, you pay any utilities at the current fire station?
that I have no idea.
We pay those.
We pay those?
The fire department pays for all the utilities in that building.
The fire department does?
Yep, 100% of the utilities.
What line are we on with that?
You think that should be split out?
It's very
Clear at the bottom.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't think that's bad to have pay out $960 so that somebody here doesn't have to do the billing, you know?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's, it leaves
That's
them empty.
that is sending our
Yeah.
reports to the hospitals,
Yep.
which keeps us in compliance with state law.
And then they do the billing too?
No,
Oh, okay.
that's paid under the yellow line that says ambulance bill medical director.
Okay.
That's where that service is paid for.
And somebody else does that or do, what do you?
Yep, somebody else does that too?
On the crew?
No,
Oh, you have a company that does it?
we
Okay.
pay Metro billing, Metro ambulance service
Okay.
billing,
and the city pays that, correct?
yes.
So back to the utilities, can we, I don't feel that the fire department should pay for everything, all the utilities.
It comes out of your budget, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How much is that a year then?
I budget $5,000 for utilities, $600 for
So, yeah, you do.
the phone, which the phone we use for art, and then property insurance. So right
And
now,
we
That
also-
listed on property.
We also have property insurance, so we contribute to the property
Is
insurance
that the
from our
same?
budget.
So there's 2 phones in the fire department?
one.
Only one.
I guess that's something we'll have to talk about.
So you'd already approved going ahead with the service, so,
Yeah, oh no, I meant the utilities.
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't care if you had a
Yeah.
budget line for us for part of the utilities.
Favorite part would be figuring out the allocation, because we wouldn't have a separate meter for it or anything.
Yeah.
Hard to estimate out. That's probably why it wasn't done previously.
That's probably why it's all under fire.
Negligible amount,
Yeah.
I'm guessing in some regard.
Yeah. And you will notice on my, Michelle gave me the revenue that we've had from the ambulance for this year to date.
On the top
current
line
budget
there?
year, yep.
Okay.
So you can see we pretty much pay for ourselves.
It's an important factor to add.
Are you guys working with that director up there on trying to get this tax money, or?
We're involved in the meeting.
We're involved
Okay.
in that.
I don't understand why, when I read it, I thought it was for ambulance services, that you have to,
Ambulance,
You have-
okay,
It's a
EMS.
whole complicated
Yeah,
system.
here's what's complicated. EMS,
Yeah.
ambulance, we are not an essential service.
I thought that's why she got that bill through, because she wanted ambulance to be funded by.
They're leaving it up to
taxpayers.
each county.
They're leaving it up to each county to do that.
So
So
how
all
do
we
we
all-
get that
All we have to do is.
rolling in O'Brien County?
Well,
It's complicated.
it's very,
Yeah,
it
but
is
don't we have to-
really
Not everybody is- it'd
complicated.
be a
Is it
vote.
the board, is this a vote or is it board of
It's a vote.
supervisors?
The
board of
supervisors,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Well, they have to decide whether they're gonna go forth with it, and then it has to be a vote.
A vote. okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we'll see, there just hadn't been enough counties that had gone forth with it. I think 2 or 3 brought it to a
three
vote.
have,
And they were
two were successful, one I
Yeah.
think wasn't. And there's an awful lot that goes into it because every service pays their volunteers differently. Every service bills customers differently. I mean, they're not,
It opens up a can of worms.
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
But to me, it's an essential service.
They got, when they passed it, then she signed it, they said that was gonna do, help with these small town ambulances. and
No.
that.
Because it doesn't matter if you throw money out of it. I mean, what's the total that we would get from?
Yeah.
Potential
yeah.
is,
Not sure.
I
You
can't
still gotta
remember
have
the
people that
potential.
wanna do the service.
But
I know that,
having,
but I'm
having all
saying
the
help
money
fund
in
it,
the
though.
pot doesn't help find volunteers to,
Cause they do it with fires, so.
so, yeah. So it's not gonna be a this year instant thing because there's a lot of legwork that needs to be done before we can even,
The management guy up there in Primgar, Jared, is he working on it then right now?
we're all working on
Okay.
it. Every ambulance service in the county and Jared, we're all working on it.
Okay.
But it's just not something that's gonna happen overnight.
No, I
And
know
the
that,
county
but-
supervisors, right now, are fine giving us the extra 20,000 to support, keeping people active on services,
Well, we
so.
should be able to get that off the wood.
I have to go to the basketball game. Does
Okay, yep.
anybody have any questions for me before I go?
See ya.
Okay.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good. Yep.
Thanks for coming.
Yep.
Any other questions? This was very helpful.
Yeah,
Oh, everybody's. These are 3,000 members.
so,
Yeah, this was
So
some.
if we look at the bottom line, really, the increase is that,
yeah, because last year, when Carol said you've got 15,000 or 1,500 to split for your on-call pay, that was added right into everything. So we were basically, our current budget is low for what it actually needed to be to pay, to keep this, actually keep the service running and to pay people when they're on a call. So,
The 37,999 from last year, you're saying this.
well, no, the 19,232, I'm looking at one line. Because that's really the only place where we're over. And miscellaneous because things got miscalculated, mistabbed. So yeah, the salary and wage was where we were low. And Jared had recommended, he was gonna come back me up tonight, but he had training, to bump that 13,608 up to 15,000, to round it up slightly in case we're busier, which is entirely possible. And then pay $15 an hour for everybody, because right now we all make something different. Because we've been, like, when 8 years ago, seven or 6 years ago, when we went to $13 an hour for EMTs. We started just getting raises, whatever, with everybody in the city. So we all make something different. So that would just even everybody out at the same pay, which will make payroll a lot easier too. So. And I think that's about all I know.
Yeah, you know, we can always bump that budget up if we have to.
So, yeah, because I sent it from the wrong email, I didn't read his reply, not in time to bump these numbers up. Because I already printed it like 3 times. So,
Very colorful.
thank you, I like color.
Perhaps. Perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This might help you with some staffing too, I guess. Make sure
You wanna do
you're
that
ready
before
Thursdays at
March
1 o'clock.
Yeah, I can actually probably do that tonight. Well, actually, Michelle has access to this document, so she should be able to print out a new one. Hopefully she'll print it landscape.
Get your changes made
Yeah,
for the March meeting.
so we can do that.
Let's do it.
I can get it all updated.
Any one of these account numbers, put in there, they have an account number.
Yeah, those are new lines, so they don't have an account. You know, if they're gonna use.
Yeah, the note too doesn't.
If they're gonna, like, the tablet doesn't, but if that's gonna be the same as the phone
Yeah.
Just not pick one step. That's the other.
and the pay, if it's gonna all be under the
It's the same,
same.
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
If you go online, Lori, you can get this, and that's all your codes for your expenditures.
Oh,
And it's uniform. I think that's.
See you later.
so,
Okay. Well, that is helpful. And we'll make sure other council members get a chance to read that through. If anyone thinks of questions along the way, we might try to aggregate those so we're not all sending you 7 or 8 different texts and emails.
No,
but
that's okay.
Either way, that might happen.
Okay.
On the next one, we'll put it on the agenda.
ask away, we'll figure it out.
All right.
I mean, if Carol hadn't asked questions, I probably would have just left a lot of things the same as I've left them on every budget I've done, and we'd be not accurately budgeted. So. Because
So,
I'm not a numbers person.
all right.
Thank you, Lori.
He has copies of the latest public records request policy, if you want to bounce back up to that item, because it has to do with ambulance,
You got
we
the
just
new
talked
number
about
1, and
ambulance.
that's the old ones to go with it.
So as you can see, we have a new one.
Yeah, do we have to,
Since we didn't actually take any action on any other items, I think we're okay, we're just having discussion, so let's just, we are still on item 10 on the agenda, essentially. So let's go back to item 10 on the agenda for approval of, approve adoption of the revised public records request policy, which now you should be able to see it's at the very bottom of page 1, it's also under applicability. This is fire ambulance and police, and then it says that the ambulance department, you refer to the ambulance president/director for the review of the request. And is there another spot? I feel like there might have been. Those are the 2 I remember anyway. I think that's probably that. Has been sent, this is Tish's version with changes.
we have to have a resolution to pass this or change it or anything?
You have to just take the action, you have to approve the adoption of it.
I don't see anything wrong with you guys. Because it's got the ambulance in there.
Right.
Yeah.
So last time I
That was the
thought
only
that
thing
was
we had,
all
was it?
you needed to add was the ambulance.
The ambulance was the only part.
Yep, that was the only part. I looked at my one from last time, and it was just
So I
ambulance,
make
yep.
a motion then. I make a motion that we adopt the revised edition of the public records request policy.
Jay has made the motion to approve the adoption of the revised public records request policy as in front of you. Do you have a second for support?
I'll second.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? Steve, still skimming it? Check. Unless hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving the adoption of the revised public records request policy as stated, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, say nay. All ayes, 2 absent. Motion carries. Thank you.
I have a
All right.
question.
Yes.
We want to do like the library and the airport and the police first. Ryan's got a lengthy budget.
Yes, he does. Do you want to do what? Do the others?
Yeah,
before
do the
then?
others first,
If that's okay, that would be nice to do, yeah. The order is up to us to decide, that would be
I
fine.
had 5 years to live.
Oh, no.
All right, well, that puts Library Director Dingler up. Let's-
All right, so this is my first time doing this with you guys, so I will, do you want me to go line by line, or do you just want me to give you the numbers and run with it?
I'll give
You guys have a
us.
copy?
Nope.
So, besides the wages portion, what we're requesting from the city is $19,475, which would be the same as we asked for in previous years. Our budget is made up, our proposed budget is made up of a lot of money that we don't know if we're gonna get or not, based out of donations and different things, so how much faxing, copying, printing. And so our budget for $27,400 is anticipating that we get this amount from the county and this amount from you guys. Does that make sense? So we do have supplemental things, so we get scholarships, we get some money through the state through Enrich Iowa, but that's based on our accreditation status and then how much the state is actually funding. So in the past, it's been about $1,300, but we also, they want you to spend that and then report back how you spent that state money. So that's where we just come up with this number of $27,400 is our budget. And again, that's the combination of our Bryan County funds and the city contribution without the wages. Now, I have $38,000 under the wages because that's what I had listed for last year. I'm not sure since then what has adjusted or been talked about. Seeing as I'm new, I don't know if that's the same number with the change in wages that was made. So I'm just assuming it's probably the same. So, and yeah, and we're fine with that. So that's our proposed, and then we laid down some of those numbers. So, what does it actually take to run the library? So total proposed that we could, if we got everything in, we could get this income of $41,810. But that's if we get our expected, the city and all the supplemental, which those are all, the supplemental is all guessing. And the printing, fines, sales material, open access, reimbursements, those are all numbers, and a lot of those are shrinking. So our sure numbers are from the county and from you guys. But if we got all that in wages, it would look like $79,810. But again, there's a lot of unknowns in there. So we're asking for that $38,000 budgeted for wages and $19,475 for general operating. We did adjust some of our numbers, if you see the front page, and if you're wondering, we adjusted a lot of our numbers to actually what we're spending, rather than like just a number on the wall. we saw that in past years, we haven't quite been spending certain things, and we've been blowing out spending on others. So like, we adjusted some of that. We've also been seeing some increased utilities, but we also saw that some programs we haven't been spending out of, or some budget items we haven't been spending, so we shifted money towards utilities, because that's just going steadily up. And then we broke out a few things. Our printing supply didn't need to be in with the maintenance in general. We don't need that much for conference and mileage, because we're not doing that as much as we used to. Yep, and like postage, this year we've only done $14 worth of postage, so we cut that down from like 700 and then 500, and then hopefully we don't need as much of that really at all anymore. So, any questions on that?
As a side note, there is an agenda item on item 18 that you will be addressing later on tonight. Do you want to speak to that before, so then you can leave just quite
Oh, no, I can wait around.
You're gonna stay?
We can stick with the budget as is for now, and then we can get back.
And we're not, yes, you don't have to approve, or yeah, obviously we're missing 2 of our council members, so we don't want to do anything tonight. We're just reviewing their presentation and allowing them to answer any questions you might have. So if we don't have any more for Matt right now, we will move on to Brian. Yes?
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay, well, I guess what I submitted was just kind of maintenance with no extra items in it. A little bit of padding for the smaller repairs anyway. And the crack filling seems to be holding up. It'll probably be a few more years before we have to do that again. And haven't got any firm numbers on what it would take to replace the building. I did shop around trying to find some used mobile office sort of a thing to see if we get a deal on that. But everybody's offering to sell you a new one, but nobody has used ones. And I did call around to see what other airports are charging sprayers, and the 100% answer I got is nothing. Didn't have to buy fuel, but I talked to Sheldon where they said they were going to start charging, and the FAA came down on them and told them you can't do that, it's not legal.
So we should.
They're happy, the elevator's happy to donate, why, you know, we should be nice to them and keep the money coming, but I don't think there's any legal way that we can force it. So it's discrimination if we just charge one kind of pilot and not the others.
And that didn't make a difference because they're using it as a business income, or, I mean, I'm just throwing that
I
out.
didn't talk to the feds, this is just
Yeah,
the message that they gave Sheldon from whether one of the sprayers complained to the feds or something, and they came down on them and said you can't do that.
Then
They
I
said
can,
you can dictate where they
Then
are
I
at
can-
the airport, but
then you're saying that I can come out and park an airplane on your airport and you can't charge me?
well,
That's what they're saying then.
So there's no revenue stream,
There's no, yeah.
no revenue opportunity in the airport.
well, you just have to be, treat everybody equally. I mean, you can have,
Well, everybody is, everybody's got the same contract out there.
no, I mean, this is, somebody flies in for their aunt's funeral.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
bill them.
Yeah, but we don't charge them to use the airport though.
No, that's the discrimination.
Yeah, well, they're not running a business though.
No, but like I say, I don't know, you have to get a legal opinion on that, but,
So the other ones are, their revenue source is just fuel?
Yep.
purchasing, and that's it? There's no other way to do that, because we don't have that.
So what do they do for fuel out here?
We don't have jet fuel, so they bring their own.
They bring their own? You don't have a jet fuel tank out there?
That belongs to one of the sprayers.
Okay. I was gonna ask about that. Does he show that he has insurance on that and all that, liability insurance on that tank?
I don't know, he's paying for the state permit and all that, so. And he paid for the expansion of the containment area there too, so.
So that big silver tank is jet fuel.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
he's gotta do that, because he's gotta have containment by law. So
Yeah,
no matter
well,
what.
And if
he
you pay,
originally asked about setting a tank by the hangar, and I said, let's do it legally, let's, you know.
Yeah, we are.
We came and talked to the council and asked if he could have our containment and put a tank there, and he said yes.
he pays for the permit, so,
Yep,
okay.
So the flying club has fuel out there though?
yes.
Do they pay for, do you guys have insurance on that tank too?
We've got liability on
Liability.
the premises.
Now, as a flying club, are they providing us with a copy of their insurance yet, or are you guys
I
just
can
keeping that
come
to
up with
yourself?
that, yeah.
If you could. I thought that's when that last lease agreement, we talked about that. We talked about you guys paying some electrical, because you guys take electrical off the cities.
Yeah, I believe that was $50 a year or something, is in the contract.
I see the last month's one was $95 for electric. What would that have been for?
But probably to keep the bathroom from freezing.
Okay. Are we required to have a bathroom and all that out there?
No, I guess they're required to have a phone and fire extinguishers, but the bathroom probably gets used more than the phone.
Any other questions for Brian right now?
I assume this year's budget isn't much different than last year's.
No,
Okay,
there were no increases.
okay. I don't.
Can we table that until next
Well, yeah,
meeting?
we're not,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah,
just
no,
having to
that's
present
good.
and ask what, answer
Like I said,
questions.
it looks like about the same as last year's.
Yeah. Hopefully you can keep looking for a building opportunity there. And thanks for coming out
Yep,
tonight,
thanks,
Brian.
Brian.
Okay, do you want Nate to go next too? Mr. Kramer, are you ready to go? Awesome, this is also colorful there on the side of your packet.
Okay, salaries and wages estimated based on having to send somebody to the academy and all the extra expense. I mean, because at that point you're paying while they're going to the academy plus whoever's covering back here. The FICA and IFRS are just a straight calculation based on what you expect for wages. Group insurance, I calculated based on what monthly is supposed to be. Workers' comp is a calculation, if you can figure out what that calculation is. That was my best guess. I mean, I saw a couple of different percentages as a kind of an estimate. It's actually a pretty complicated chart, so I kind of went with the suggested percentage and combined it with based on what we used in the past. So I have no idea how close that number is going to be, but it should be somewhere in the ballpark. And then unemployment's kind of the same way. I'm not sure why the current year had 0 put into it, but I would expect there's going to be something there. Uniforms, a little bit of an increase based on one, we've got a couple of things that need replacing, plus a new person presumably coming on board, or stuff that's sized to fit. Training, big jump because of the academy costs. Meetings and conferences the same, vehicle operating, which would be fuel, best estimate there. Repair and maintenance, hopefully about the same, not just tires, batteries, any damage that needs to be repaired. Equipment would be other equipment, repair and maintenance, calibrations, etc. Telephone is cell phones and the wireless hotspots. Property insurance, legal expenses, which tends to be kind of variable, so we'll just put that in there. Medical wellness, which I think is also where we're pulling like pre-employment physicals out of. Printing and publishing, and advertising, insurance, liability, guesstimate based on past experience, other expenses, primarily software. It's recurring expenses like annual Microsoft Office, annual Norton antivirus, the state annual fee for our connection to the state law enforcement databases, stuff like that. Other supplies and materials, pretty much everything else. And we're a little bit higher because we're basically at the point where our tasers are going to need to be replaced, because we can't even, I've got cartridges for one more training cycle and you can't get replacement cartridges. And they're, plus it's an electronic device, it's already 13 or 12 years now, 13 years old. So it's getting to the point where once in a while we do a regular, part of the thing is you do a regular kind of function test, and it's to the point where they get a little bit, you can tell, just to demonstrate. Based on that arc, sometimes that arc speed and durations, it gets a little irregular. So that's another reason that we need to start looking at replacing those. In fact, that arc.
Thanks for showing up, Rick.
Thanks for showing up, now I feel like you can test our
Yeah, can you demonstrate that on Kelly, please?
In fact, that arc was actually a little slower than it could be. And then actually the other thing is, now that they've had them out long enough, they're actually tweaking the voltages and the amperages and the arc durations and yada yada yada. So let's see, what else in that category? That includes our ammo. That includes thermal paper for the mobile printers, laser cartridges. If you just replaced a couple of them, then you can expect the color ones and that's the real expensive part. A few office supplies specific to us. Batteries for radios and pagers. Various other mobile little things. I'm not real sure how it's going to pan out yet, but probably going to need to replace the mobile video system with the next vehicle swap out. I guess I don't, yeah, that's still kind of up in the air on how all that's gonna transpire. That's pretty much for that. And then postage, and then the capital equipment is annual encumbrance for the vehicle and any equipment that's gonna need to be replaced, and or the cost for the techs to take it out of the one and then put it in the next one. So that's looking like, with, that's what we've been putting in, and I'm guessing unless the vehicle, the base vehicle ends up coming out a lot more than I think it's gonna be, what we'll probably be doing is ordering that this coming fall, and then past into the next budget year will be the upfitting and then new equipment that has to go in. Any questions?
Jane, no. Steve?
That's good.
Yeah, there's really not much increase from last year.
No.
Oh yeah, mostly, I think wages.
Right.
And wages and training.
Yeah, personnel's up 8. Good details, thank you for that. If anyone else thinks of questions after tonight, we'll reach out, and same for our other two who couldn't be here tonight. Make sure they get a chance to quiz you as well if they have anything that we can't answer.
Thanks, Nate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, last but certainly not least, Fire Chief Brian Harper.
In your packet, you'll have an apparatus replacement purchase schedule that shows all our current apparatuses that we have now, what the date was when they were purchased new, and the front line, and the decommission schedule. As you can see, we kind of have ourselves backed into a corner, and one truck is over 10 years past replacement, and we have 3 more that are year after year, and 2 more that are pretty close behind also. So I've been doing a lot of phone calls, a lot of research, and to go along with my budget. So tonight I'm presenting you guys with a 5-year capital expense budget. So I'm planning out 5 years, hopefully to help plan ahead and look where we are as far as funding needs. Your first page will be our current budget year, and then go from there. One thing that I have listed is my 2 assistant chiefs. I'd like to add wages for them because they are doing more to help me. How I came up, I would like to increase our call rate, because right now we're the lowest paid per call in the county. So I got a hold of all the other departments. So I took all that as I averaged all our calls per year. And, sorry. Averaged all the calls per year and the average hours we spent on a call. So out of last year, out of 45 calls, we only had 3 calls that were 4 hours plus. So the likelihood of us going per hour after is highly unlikely, but I wanted to make sure we had enough budgeted in. We're also working on a weekend on-call schedule, so we would have a set number of guys, 6 guys on call every weekend, so we know we have at least have coverage. We're automatic aid with Granville and Calumet, so we do have help coming automatically, but I want to make sure that we are covered. The meeting pay, I think, is only up $1 per meeting. So in year 25, 26, 27, and 27, 28, I have all the chassis for 27, 28. Anyways, the 2 trucks that we need to replace the chassis are budgeted in. I'm working on the Germantown tanker to get that replaced, and I'm looking at funding options to get our big engine replaced. Also, as far as capital equipment for this year, we have almost dollar for dollar listed out on a separate sheet. If you guys have questions, you can talk to me. And I can go over what we have listed. So yeah, that number is not something we're just throwing out there, but we have figured out that this is what we need for money. So yeah. And I'm also looking at working with the townships to figure out where we are with their fire protection fund. I'm doing a lot of research with that. Right now, as you can see, my budget for this upcoming year is $73,610. So if you look at my, well, you don't have the sheet, but it's my revenue coming in with our new updated contracts will be about just over $41,000. So I went through, broke down from the evaluations from the townships, which what's collected and what the city taxes have been brought in. And if you go the city per each township, it's a 51%, 49% split. So the city should be 49% of the budget, and the townships should be 51% of the budget. So all that money that should be covered. Yes, if you have any questions, I will do my very best to answer them for you, or I will find the answer. But I've spent a lot of time contacting other area departments, seeing where they are, to make sure I'm not out of line with my budget. But I really wanted to do 5 years so you guys had a look
I'm
ahead.
impressed with the 5-year plan, yeah.
Good way to show what is needed for the bigger investments and what
Because we gotta do something with the
banking
trucks.
and money away.
Or are you talking about just buying a chassis then, the new chassis?
So, like the trucks, right now where we're sitting with all our trucks, since they are all commercial chassis, we can just remount them to a new chassis. Like the 2 brush trucks, more or less they're flatbeds, so we can easily just unbolt them, pick them up and set them on a new chassis.
Can you get special deals like Kelly kinda got?
Yeah,
Trucks?
yeah, we can do state bid. We can look into that.
You could probably get a nice big Dodge.
So what I have budgeted right now is literally just going on the manufacturer's website on the fleet side and just building the truck. So that should, I'm hoping, be enough money to cover, but obviously state bid will be less money, but.
Or you get some kind of grants too.
And yeah, but part of my equipment this year, with my equipment list, is what we're asking for in the 3 grants that I applied for.
You apply for those grants yourself, right?
Yep, I do all the grant writing.
Okay. Does every year you try to replace 2 sets of the bunker here?
Yes, so
Okay.
to explain a little bit about the bunker gear, so in 2015 when I received the FEMA grant for bunker gear, that covered 25 sets, which was pretty much everybody on the department. The problem being is all of our gear on the department, when you receive the FEMA grant, anything that's out of NFPA standard, out of date, you have to dispose of. So we had no bunker gear for anybody new. So right off the bat, for a couple years, we had to do some trading with different departments to get gear, and we're now, like right now, it's 2023, so we're 8 years down the road, and I still only have 8 sets of extra gear. So what I'm attempting to do is get my interior attack guys new bunker gear as we go along here, and my newer guys, so we have extra gear when they get, especially the interior guys, when they get back, they can disassemble their gear and get it washed right away. Because that's one of the leading causes of occupational cancer, is not getting carcinogens washed right
Okay.
away. So we're making improvement steps on our end also for pre-washing on scene and not getting in the trucks with that stuff and cleaning trucks afterwards.
Okay.
So, yes, and as you can see, obviously, gear, unfortunately, like everything, has gone up in cost.
Yeah.
So yeah, this year I had $4,000 budgeted, and I'm actually in the hole on that. That wasn't enough to replace, so. Yeah, like the 6,500, that's a pretty good price right now. That should be pretty close to what we pay, if not just slightly above.
Okay.
But I'm just trying, So I'm just trying to give you guys a look ahead of what we're looking at.
All right.
We might, we've never done. We need a new Main Street.
Let's keep going. More blocks. Okay, awesome. Anybody else have questions? Let Ryan know. He's always very helpful in answering them, and this is a great way to look ahead and have some planning and forethought
Yes.
to know what will be coming down the road and to explain your equipment schedule to see what needs to be and when and how far out. So I know you're working on the Germantown tanker, which is apparently the most urgent one at the time, and so.
Now, you said you get $40,000 a year for equipment replacement for the county.
So for my townships, as of right now, in July, our new contract will be, our funds coming in, sorry, I have a collection of papers here. So our funds coming in with our new rate this year will be $41,220.63.
So you're gonna go 2 years, so you should have enough.
Well, that part, that 41,000, so that's my whole budget. So that theoretically, this split will be, and yeah, I can explain a lot.
That's right.
Yeah, it'll just be easier to explain it all. Use that for minutes, that's what. So we don't take up any more time.
Okay.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you
Good
very
job.
much. Thanks to all. Yeah, I think that, did we miss anyone from our, does anyone think of any other questions for Matt? Brian left, but still need here. If you think of anything else, let them know. Okay, we're to item number 12, resolution to set the public hearing for the fiscal year budget amendment, which will be set for 5:30 PM on March 20th, which is a regularly scheduled meeting, not the next one, but the following one. And basically, I'll leave them separate in resolutions, but they will, the next one is a similar and same date for the fiscal year 24 max levy. So this is just put it out there, and then we'll make sure it gets published, and you'll see the materials at your next meeting.
You need a resolution to set the public.
Yes, that's-
I so move to do a resolution to set the public hearing for the fiscal year 23 budget amendment for 5:30 PM on March 20th, 2023.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have G and J, motion and second. Let's do a roll call vote. Everybody?
Okay. Steve Herron,
Yes?
Jay Jones,
Yes.
Gene Unruh.
Yes.
Okay, just 3 ayes, and we have 2 absent. So the resolution passes. Thank you. And so item 13 is a resolution to set the public hearing for the fiscal year 24 max levy to also March 20th, 2023 at 5:30. Again, slight difference on time because one will have to be before the other, but in other words, it's the start of the meeting for that night.
I'll make a motion to resolve to set the public hearing for the max levy at 5:30 on March 20th, 2023.
We have a motion, resolution presented by Steve. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
And a second by Jean. To set the public hearing for fiscal year 24 max levy at 5:30 PM, March 20th, 2023. Is there any other questions or discussion? Says no from Jay, so that is a call for a roll call vote.
Steve Herron,
Yes.
Jay Jones. Yes. Gene Underell.
Yes.
Okay, 3 ayes, 2 absent. Resolution passes to set the public hearing. And the next one is, does have wording in your packet, if you want to read that. Whoever wants to present that, it's a little longer, provided they're kicking off our big, awesome project. The only thing that we, as you'll see, is noted is the meeting was, they had it set, a Hattiestown meeting last night, but that's the only change, so we'll get revised before we sign and approve, but if someone would like to read that through.
I'll read it.
Thank you.
Notice of public hearing on plans and specifications, proposed form of contract and estimate of cost for the furnishings of 15 kV outdoor sheltered aisle switchgear for the city of Paullina, Iowa. Notice is hereby given that the City Council of the City of Paullina, Iowa will meet at City Hall, 127 Main Street, South Main Street, Paullina, Iowa, 51046, on April 3rd, 2023 at 5:30 p.m., at which time and place the council will consider the adoption of plans and specifications and proposed form of contract for the above referenced materials, which are now on file in the city offices. At said meeting, the city council will conduct a public hearing for the improvements as well as take action on the received bids. The equipment is described in general as follows. A new lineup of 15 kV outdoor sheltered aisle metal-clad switchgear, including 8 vacuum circuit breakers with related controls, accessories, and integral enclosure. Publication order, upon order of the City Council of Paullina, Iowa, dated this 21st day of February 2023.
Excellent, thank you, Jean. Do we have support for that?
I'll second that.
Second by Jay. Any other questions? Hearing none, we will call for a roll call vote on this resolution.
Steve Herron,
Yes.
Jay Jones.
Yes.
Gene Underell.
Yes.
Okay, all, it's 3 ayes, no nays, 2 absent. Resolution passes. Thank you. And item 15, to approve the rebid process on the lagoon aeration, which obviously, we had submitted previously and had to table, and so now we need to get that in the works because of the ARPA funds and such. And so Ellie's willing to send that out for rebid if you so agree.
I'll make a motion to send it out for rebid.
I'll second.
We did have somebody email me last week wanting to, I wonder if we're still doing it, wanting to bid on it, so maybe we'll have a few more people.
Do we have to put that back like we did last time, or just do this on our own?
He'll put it back and bring it, he'll bring it back to us. This is just to give him permission to go put it back out.
We only had one bid on it.
We only had one
Yeah.
bid and it
No.
was,
Yeah,
And
that's
it was
jacked.
outrageous.
it was high.
Yeah, it
It was
was.
double, wasn't it? For what was it, his estimate was?
Okay, we'll have a motion to approve the rebid process on the lagoon aeration from Steve, with a second from Jay. Do we have any other questions for Kelly or anyone on that? Might as well call for a vote. All in favor of approving the rebid process on the lagoon aeration project, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, say nay. There are 3 ayes, no nays, 2 absent. Motion carries. And 16 is also in your packet there, I think at the very back. This is from MRES, it was on their webinar that it talks about in here the other day. They are offering a customer research project for a discounted rate, which is on the back page there. We would fall under the $435. That's about half the price of what it would be to get them done if you book this project themselves, directly with the blue, what is it called? Blue, I forgot now. Bright blue research. This will allow us to ask our customers, our residents, what they think of our current situation, how they're communicated with. It lets you find out some opinions with customer satisfaction and what their awareness is. Do they know they have public utility power? Do they know the benefits of that? How they like to communicate with us. So it's usually always a good opportunity to get to know what unless something has been done recently, which I haven't seen anything other than the annual public distribution power one that they do, and they're still doing that. MRES does, that provides us with that about in general across the whole industry. But this would be actually our own customers. Gives us the opportunity to ask them what they think and to get some feedback and know that we're on the right track. So that is up to you to decide. As you see, we had to put it on this agenda though because they need to know by March 1st to decide whether you're on. They will provide us with all the materials for the marketing of it. They'll provide the URLs. You can do it. They will offer possibly a printout version, or we can do it on a laptop or something here so people can do it. We can have it as a, oh, Matt just walked away, but at the library where they can log in and do one there. Yeah, it's got a lot of potential to give us some insight, and then we can use that information going forward.
Okay. You evidently attended the webinar.
I did,
Okay.
yes. There's a lot of other information if you need it, but this is them splitting the cost, and they've, already discounted it as a full group package from MRES for all of its members. So
I
it's down.
move that we approve the participation in the MRES customer research project.
Okay, Jay has made the motion to approve participation in this customer research project from MRES.
I'll second that.
Second by Jean. Okay, we've heard a motion and a second by Jay, second by Jean to approve participation in the customer research project offered by MRES. Do we have any other discussions or questions?
It's done. So we're gonna have to provide somebody to do the training, or it's all done by the customer themselves?
The survey?
Yeah,
Yes, it's all done by the customer.
done just by the customer.
It's all just an online one. That's how they have done most of them.
Okay.
But they will give us information, and so we can include it in with the bill. Next time we send out a newsletter, we can mention it, you can include the link, you can include it on your Facebook, you can include it on your agendas, a QR code. It's all, a lot of other options to help people get there, and it makes sure that they don't take it more than one time also, so someone can't just enter a bunch of entries, positive or negative. So don't even think about it, Matt. They're on to you. But we did mention when you were out, just saying that the library can also then have a tab bookmark on this and say, if you need to take it, go to the library and ask them which computer to log into, and they can let you do that. Awesome. Easy to do. So, okay, we had a motion and a second. Are there any other questions?
This would come out of the electrical department, I assume, for funding.
Right, it's all electrical based.
Okay.
Then hearing no other comments, I will call for a vote of approval, a vote to approve participation in the MRES Customer Research Project. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, say nay. It's all ayes, 3 ayes, 2 absent. Motion carries. I will let Joni know that you are game. Thank you. And our number 17, rescind the motion to appoint Jay Jones as interim replacement to TCA Customer Programming Board. Obviously, we cannot have Jay make that motion or second or vote on it, which requires you two on that. If you
I will make a motion to rescind the motion to appoint Jay as an interim replacement to TCA Customer Programming Board.
Okay, a motion made by Jean.
Second.
And a second by Steve. Everyone understands that that just undoes what was done at the last. Like I said, we cannot have Jay will abstain from voting, and our other two are absent. So that puts it to a 2 plus an absent plus an abstainment, which counts for a quorum but doesn't count toward the voting. So we'll call for a roll call vote for the 2 remaining.
Okay. Steve Herron,
Aye.
Jay Jones,
Abstain.
Tucci.
Yes.
All right, so we had 2 ayes and 1 abstain, which allows that rescinded motion to be rescinded. Yes, I guess that's how you say that. 18, to
Can I
amend.
make a quick comment?
No, you had your time, you had your 5 minutes chance and you didn't take it, so.
That's because I was on the agenda.
No, this is called order. It doesn't say your name anywhere on this. We gotta have order.
Well, then I'll come next time and
That's
make
fine.
my comment.
Or you can tell your lies all you want, John.
Okay, now that you accused me of lying, you sat here and accused me of not attending meetings.
I didn't say a word. Where on that tape did I say that?
Shut up, Jay.
Hey, don't talk to me like that.
You accused me of lying, of not attending meetings.
I didn't say a word, did I?
Can you two maybe have a discussion privately
No.
about this
I'm
personally?
gonna
It
go.
seems like a personal.
I'll come next time because,
I called you a liar because what you said about the website.
gee,
It's on the website, John, on the tape. You said that if we fired you, you would give us the URL and the passwords and the website. It's on the tape, John.
that's not what I'm here for, Jen.
I don't care. That's why I called you a liar.
Okay, guys, let's take the next step, or there, I would suggest you meet personally and
No, that's
individually.
fine. I don't
Here would be
know.
fine, but not necessarily during a meeting, thank you. Number 18, to amend the resolution to 2023, which would be number 04, if approved, the library director, oh no, that is the one, sorry, amending the one, that's why it's numbered. The library director wage from $18 an hour to $17 an hour, plus raise Marla and Janet's compensation each by $1, starting with the payroll period that would begin on 27 February. So that was when the hours would start changing as to that date, if that's clear enough. And you would like to speak a little bit? Yes. on what you're
Okay,
offering.
so this is something the library board and I came to the conclusion of. And part of that is I'm very grateful for the pay increase and that they considered me and hired me for that. But it's, for me, I'm depending very much on my clerks, librarians, and they make less than $10 an hour. So this would be an increase for them and a decrease for me, but it with the limitations on, so if you notice, it's 12 hours max. That's what they're working, each of them, the maximum each week that's possible. Okay, so that's a total of 24 hours between the two of them. And so it's just with the simple math, taking $1 out of my 29 hours each week is $29, and then putting $1 for each of them back is 24. And so then there's a $5 breathe space there. And we're already working to make sure that we don't get into that unless we've compensated for that in other ways by covering different shifts and things. So it's just an adjustment. Part of that is to keep our librarians. We're seeing that a lot of libraries in our area are looking for librarians, and it's a hard thing to fill because we don't offer a lot of hours. And so you have to have very dedicated, willing people to step into that. And so this is just an effort to balance that a little bit. And this is approved by our board. So our board voted on this and it passed, and they're all in favor. And so I'm just coming here in support of the amendment to explain, and yeah. So hopefully it's not anything too crazy for anybody.
So as of their hours, starting on 27 February is when that would start to change and add up. So then the next payroll is when they would see that effect. We'll modify the 3 of their accounts accordingly to reflect that. Any questions on that? Want to make that motion to amend the resolution? If you would, read it clear in its entirety so we make sure it's accurate.
I'll do it.
Thank you, Jean.
I move to amend resolution 2023 to 24 The library reduced his wage 18 hours to 17 hours with a maximum of 29 hours per week, plus raised Marla, Eric, and Janet Miller's compensation each by $1 per hour, maximum of 12 hours per week, starting February 27, 2023.
I'll second that.
All right. And second by Steve. Any other questions from Matt or otherwise? He understands the budget this year's, but it will take effect now as in this year's budget, but that, as he pointed out, it does not increase the payroll to us. Okay?
Yeah, it won't make any changes to the budget at all.
No, increase anything. No, I'm good there. Okay. So I have heard a resolution to amend the resolution to 2023-04 library director wage, as stated. Let's do a roll call vote, sorry on that.
Steve?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
And Jean?
Yes.
It's 3 ayes, and we have 2 absent. So that is an amended resolution passed today, February 21. Thank you, Matt, for that generous offer.
Thanks, Matt.
Appreciate that.
Good team.
Thank you.
Okay, we are to reports. And 7:06 p.m. Okay. I won't go into much detail, but I was on a webinar today about finding funding options for some of our projects we already are talking about and some we need to get planned. And some of that we'll be working with Darren to see what sources we can find from state, federal. Obviously there's a lot going on with that as well coming available. So I found a few good potentials, but part of it is required. Our comprehensive plan needs to be updated anyway, so that will be a big next step. And also maybe a housing needs assessment to point that out as well and update those things. So those are a few ideas that came out today. And then the other is the legislation is doing a lot down there in Des Moines, as I'm sure you maybe heard or caught in the news. And a lot of it is the property tax reform does address or will address and shrink our budgets, our available taxable base. So what they have already allowed us to do is extend the deadline instead of the March 30th, 31st, whatever it must have been, 31st. It's now it will now be April 30th. They've given that extra time because they know they are, and they still have not totally finalized everything, but League of Cities is keeping us updated, and that webinar from last week, instead of driving down to Denison, I just jumped on the webinar and heard them talk. That was helpful to point out all what's coming in the different bills, and there's a whole lot of notes on it. I would happy to give to any of you individually, but I don't want to take up a lot of group time for this, especially since we had a big meeting already. But there's a lot going on, and some of it is good and some of it is not so good, but we have people lobbying for us. And there is the League of Cities has, or MRES put that little pamphlet. I think you all probably got one in the mail. Did you get your little legislative something in the mail, little packet? It's up on the bulletin board to be able to talk to our representatives and let them know what you think of their changes, or just that you would like them to take into account how it modifies and unfortunately shrinks the available city dollars to do what we need to do here, which is, as you heard, all good things from all of our departments. So yeah, I think that's about it. And now you're here to do your report. Tell us what's going on outside.
Trying to fix a water main break.
How's it going?
That's so great, you just said.
That's a great.
So is this is our problem then?
Yep. We had water coming up in the hole and figured it was there, and it just keeps, we have to keep digging up street because it keeps going further down that way, so hopefully they found it now, so. Did 2 days of trimming trees, sanded alleys, fixed sander, did a bunch of meter change outs, read meters, jetted a few sewers. We have we have a hydraulic chainsaw and a hydraulic impact. We tore those apart and put new seals in and everything. Fixed one of the skid loader attachments. We had to get one of the cylinders fixed for the grapple on the backhoe. New hoses on the orange truck, dug grave, washed some equipment, met with DGR. New hydraulic fittings on the bucket. We had some wire, it was actually communication wire, it wasn't ours, but it was hanging pretty low over the street, over by Mill Creek, so we tacked that back up on the pole. Flat tire on one of our plow trucks, got that fixed. Took down Christmas lights. Moved some snow at Swanson to make some more room. Serviced the backhoe, skid loader, and the sweeper. Cleaned the bank basement. We took 2 walls out of the bathroom. We're not gonna replace them. I don't know, we're just got that cleaned up. It should be good to go now. We did order some lights for the trucks, and then we got the water main break, so. We do.
Busy boy.
I don't know if you guys wanna look at these. This is my plans, what I wanna get for the pickups. There's our old pickups had 2-inch hitches on them, so we need to buy 2.5-inch hitches because that's what our new trucks have. I got a quote from a couple different places. They're $800, and you're gonna have to have two separate deals, one for the pintle and one for the balls. I found something that you just have one thing, it'll work for everything, and it's $500, so it's $300 cheaper than the other ones. And then the deck system for the pickups. It's got a drawer system underneath that we can put our tools and whatnot. It's waterproofing, it's got a lifetime warranty. And then we can still utilize our entire truck bed, and we can have a 2,000 pounds on the capacity in back there. So it doesn't really shrink down our usable area in our pickup. We can put that on the next one, or however you guys want to do that. I just need permission to order stuff, I guess.
Yeah, let's just put that on the next agenda.
Yeah, you could, because your old trucks, you can still pull that stuff around, can't you?
What's that?
Your old trucks, you can still use that.
Yep. Yep.
So the other people can see that.
Yep.
That's, I think that back thing is gonna be pretty good. Because everything's locked up too then.
Yep. And everything's waterproof, and it'll be, yeah.
Good deal.
Anything else? Can you get back outside? Okay. Let you do that, thank you.
Should have it back up again.
I'm chomping at the bit to get back there, right?
All right, let's jump to Nate. You have anything again for your report?
Just got some results back on some background on the applicant, which we will discuss with the employment personnel committee.
Okay. Anything else? 2080 relatively working? With Sutherland?
What's that?
Is 2080 sort of working with Sutherland yet?
So far.
Do they have somebody over there, Nate?
Yeah, I'm not sure how long.
Is that the guy that you said couldn't pass the test though?
Yeah, so,
Okay.
I don't know, he's still employed and pulling shifts. I don't know whether he's gonna get in the academy in May or where that all stands, but
Now, if they lose him, does that agreement stop then automatically?
I believe so, because it's based on a straight up swap of time, basically.
Anything else, Sheriff?
Do you know anything about, somebody asked me the other day about those lots over there. Did we ever get another sign made up to put?
No, we haven't. One sign turned up missing, we haven't.
We should probably take that sign from one over there and put it on that one by the old kids. So it gets stolen.
Switch it around. Yeah.
One sign turned up missing, serious.
Yeah, somebody
Oh,
stole
yeah.
that sign over in Olden Kids.
So if you see it in somebody's garage, well, they know.
They'll be easy. A pancake sign, huh?
Yeah, that's very exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have anything for us, Ryan?
I think I've talked enough
You've
for
given
today.
us a lot to think about. And yes, I think Lori's mostly was her budget requests. And Matt, do you have anything else as in your eyes?
We're gonna find in our budget some money to upgrade our thermostats, just to get better efficiency. We're not really achieving much with we're still at the old school twist and turn. The location is kind of poor, and yeah, we're gonna upgrade that, and then we're gonna probably upgrade a lock. That's all in our maintenance budget.
Okay.
So, but those are things we're working on.
Wonderful.
All right. And yes, we haven't had any committee meetings yet. Hopefully that will start happening again. And council comments, we are down to, it's the three of you.
I'll probably start here pretty soon. If you can help me, Steve, we'll go out to the airport and measure that up. And I've seen a few people advertise on Facebook pages that they can build sheds for a pretty good price. So
Oh, really?
maybe we could put up some kind of nice shed, insulate it, and, do all that. Get by.
Higher up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can measure it up and at least get a quote on something.
On something, and maybe get a couple guys here in town or put quotes in. We gotta do something out there. This looks pretty bad.
Yeah, there's a window on the north side that's about to fall out.
The ones on the east side used to have duct tape sitting on them, so I hope this still.
Most of them are about ready to fall out.
Pretty ugly.
Yeah, it doesn't look. One thing too is last year we were talking to the golf course about the pump shed.
Yeah.
They never did anything to that. We need to.
Oh, that yesterday.
Yeah, that looks pretty bad, that pump shed out there.
You said it was there, correct?
Shingles on it, painted, and all good.
Don't know that. Okay. All right, in absence of our other guest today, if anyone would like to make the motion to adjourn.
I'll move we adjourn.
I'll second.
And the second by Jay. To adjourn. Any further discussion? Or issues with adjournment? Those all in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, say nay. 3 ayes, no nays, and 2 absent means we are adjourned at 7:18 p.m.